My name is Syndy Buchanan, relationship coach, speaker, and radio host in Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to the Unbroken Experience. The Unbroken Experience is well established as one of the premier organizations. We're designed around strengthening the family foundation through education, mentoring, coaching, and memorable experiences created to empower the individuals that make up our communities that will directly have a positive effect on the interactions with the relationships those individuals have outside the home. Right now, our nation is going through a tremendous change. And guess what? This is the time for us to use our platforms from radio, from television, from social media to reach out to those people we're not able to tangibly be in front of at this time, but we can still be in front of them. This endeavor allows us as a team to set courageous, innovative, and profound goals, strategically plan with confidence, and brilliantly execute a solid blueprint to success financially, economically, commercially, societal, that extends its reach to more people than we can physically touch in a lifetime. I thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about the Unbroken Experience. And there's so much more to know, so much more to learn. And I look forward to partnering with you and speaking with you soon.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Come on in. Welcome to the Unbroken Experience. I am Syndy B, relationship coach, creator of the Unbroken Experience, and tonight you are joining me in the financial experience with Syndy B. I'm so excited for this evening. This is my second webinar doing this, where we are going to go and break down the loan modification process. We had close to 500 participants and viewers of this webinar last month in October, and I'm going to continue to do this as much as I can, as many times as possible. In the state of Georgia alone, there are over 18,000 homeowners who are potentially facing foreclosure, meaning they're at least 3 months behind on their mortgage. Of course, you all know that we are in a pandemic right now, and we are still in it. And during this process in the CARES Act, there was an opportunity for homeowners to be able to take advantage of the mortgage payment relief program, where you were able to call your lender, whatever their process was. You were able to give them a call and let them know that you were struggling because of the pandemic and COVID-19, and you would like to exercise whatever they had in place to allow you to not have to make your mortgage payments. And of course, there's so many people that needed that opportunity. And so I definitely understand why many took advantage of that. But in the same sense, at some point, that protection of relief will be lifted. And all of those payments that were not paid, they were in forbearance. And because they were in forbearance, they are just sitting there. And when that relief is released, those payments will become due. And depending on your lender, depends on the time that they take in terms of pursuing foreclosure on your home. It is not like a car payment that you can defer to the end of your car loan. It was in forbearance, and it was basically just sitting there. And that's why when you called your lender and you exercised that particular program, they stressed to you, but if you can make anything payment towards it, please do. And the reason being They should have said to you, I just want you to know that, when this is up, these payments will be due in full on top of your mortgage payment that you already have. So as a relationship coach, you should know, I know that finances can be a make or break sometimes in relationships. So I began to add financial literacy to my clients, but to you, I am offering my expertise completely free to you. My background in banking and finance is close to 20 years, and I've helped over close to 3,000 homeowners in Georgia through the loan modification process when the mortgage economy crashed back in 2007, 2008. And I continued to do that after that. And now that we are in this particular situation, again, and just in a different manner, I am back, I am here, and I am committed to doing this as possible. And then later, after my presentation, I have a very special guest this evening, Dr. Ndidi Ehem, who is a wealth and wellness expert, CEO of Avon Systems. I cannot wait until she comes on, because the point of me having guests after I do my presentation is, one, I don't want you in that same situation again. I don't want you, if something happens, we want to be recession proof. We want to be pandemic proof and proof anything else that will keep us out of situations that are very stressful, such as losing your home. So that is the purpose of today's webinar. I'm going to go ahead and get started breaking down this process so that we can go ahead and get to Dr. Ehem and get your questions answered and things like that. But speaking of questions, please make sure that if you have a question that arises, I am here. Dr. Ehem is here today, right now, to answer any questions that you might have. This is the time to utilize us. Please, please do. We probably will leave this up for 24 hours and then it will not be available, because we want to encourage people to utilize us while we are live. So let's go ahead and get started in this process. So loan modification that came down during President Obama's era. And if you are facing foreclosure, you don't have to be facing foreclosure to be approved for or go through the loan modification process, but we're going to stay in this realm of where the economy is right now, where there are a lot of people who are in that position to, when that relief is released, they will be facing foreclosure if they cannot make those payments that they did not pay upfront and in full. Okay, so the first step that you have to do is obviously contact your lender and let them know that you would like to participate in a loan modification or homeowners assistance program. You can contact your lender and say that. So what they'll do at that point in time, they will send you an application. It might be online. Eventually it's going to be, they might initiate the process online, but you'll definitely be doing paperwork, and they will send you a package in the mail. All right. If you are in foreclosure status, meaning they have already referred your home, your loan to their attorney to proceed with foreclosure on your home, you will want to move very, very swiftly, because once you have that sale date, once they put it, you can be in foreclosure status and not have a sale date right away. But understand they are actively looking to put your home in foreclosure on a foreclosure sale date. Now, so you want to move as quickly as possible, because once your case is in underwriting for review, meaning you've provided them, you completed the application, you provided them everything that they've asked for, and now it is in review for underwriting. If you don't have a sale date, it'll be foreclosure status will be halted. You'll still be in that status, but they won't proceed with trying to get a sale date. And also, if you have a sale date, they will also suspend that sale date while your case is in review, which can take Usually it's faster than 30 days, but it can take up to 30 days for them to render a decision or let you know if they need some more items for review. So once you have initiated that contact with your lender, it is time to fill out that paperwork. Oh, let me go back and let's spend a little bit more time on this sale date. Let's say that you submitted your paperwork. You submitted your paperwork to your lender and you received a denial. Okay, and you also have a sale date, but maybe you're working with someone like me, you're talking to someone like myself, and I have helped you restructure your case to put it in a position where it's more favorable to get an approval, but you got that sale date. Once they have rendered a decision, that protection of a sale date is not necessarily there anymore. So you want to keep in mind that you might have to file bankruptcy to hold off that sale date if it's within, if they have set it and you're now resubmitting your case back to underwriting, you are not necessarily protected once they've given one decision. So I want you to know that as well. You can still contact your lender as well as a foreclosure attorney and see if they will suspend it. But really your best bet is to get your paperwork completed and submitted into underwriting as quickly as possible. And in the event that they're still working on the decision and working on your case and the sale date is approaching, bankruptcy is an option for you, okay? Because you have I'm not a bankruptcy attorney, but you have the automatic stay to where they wouldn't be able to proceed with that sale date. And then they have to go through that process if they're trying to do that through the federal court system, okay? Also, let's say that you have exhausted your automatic stay. You can also have a spouse or someone that lives in your house that has vested interest in your home. So let's say you have a parent living with you, a child, a family member. They'll have to be on the quit claim deed, and that's something that you can do. This is a secret. I'm dropping this for you. You do have to quit claim them onto the title, but they are able to file bankruptcy as well to halt that foreclosure while your case is in underwriting or while you're trying to get that approval process. Okay, so now we doing our paperwork and we're breaking that down and we're filling out the expenses and all of those kinds of things. And you get to let's talk about the income and expenses. What a lot of mistakes that are made during that process is when you're filling out the expenses, you put every expense that you could possibly think of or that you could possibly have, thinking with the mentality that if I just tell them all the expenses I possibly have, they will clearly see that I am struggling financially and give me an approval. But that is actually not the case. If your debt to income ratios are off, they will actually look at that as there's no point in us giving you a loan modification because you wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. So let's go ahead and proceed with this foreclosure, get this off of our hands, and we'll deal with the property, in on their books in that way. So, whereas, let me give you an example. They have on there your utility bills, and mostly, let's say your electric bill is about $100 a month. But one particular month, it was $550. So you put on your expenses that my electricity is $550 a month. Don't do that. What is the real average or the lower totem pole of it all? Because you know that you're not paying $550 a month in your electric bill, but also that's going to shoot your DTI, your debt to income ratio, very high. Okay, and then let's say one particular month it was Thanksgiving, and so yes, maybe your grocery bill was kind of high. No, we want to do kind of an average. You can do anywhere between 70 and $100 per person in your household. Okay, so then we're going to break down all those expenses, but we're going to make sure we keep an eye on our debt to income ratios, because you have to make sure that your front end and back end, meaning your front end, meaning what your mortgage payment, taxes and insurance and homeowners association is, and your back end, which are all your other expenses. Anything that's on your credit report, they will automatically include. So don't leave those out. If you have a card note or a credit card, you can do the minimum payment. You can do any of those, but just keep it at the bare minimum, so that um, when they do that debt to income ratio, it's not so high that they don't see how in the world you're going to pay. Because you have to also understand that those payments through a loan modification, they will tack on as a second lien on the back end. And so all of that is going to be factored in as well. Okay. So now we're working through these income and expenses. When it comes to your income, the great thing, let's just talk about, you need a little bit more income. Maybe your spouse is not on the mortgage, but their income can still be used. They are called a non-borrower contributor, So as a non-borrower, all they have to do is write a letter. A lot of the lenders now are requiring it to be notarized. That's fine. Writing a letter. My name is Syndy Buchanan. I am the wife of Ryan Buchanan, and I contribute $1,500 a month to our household. If you have any questions, please contact me. And you sign it, have it notarized. You can go to UPS, have it notarized for $4 or $5, depending on where you are, and send it in. And that income you're able to use it towards your income. You want to show that you have income available to get you back on track. So basically, you're telling the lender, I've got the finances to be able to cover. Please give me a loan modification. I'm in a better situation now and able to handle it. Okay. Let's talk, and the only supporting documentation that the non-borrower has to provide are their W-2s or profit and loss if they're a business owner, and sometimes bank statements to show, especially if you are a 1099 or self-employed. You provide the bank statements to show to match what you're writing on your profit and loss statement. Speaking of profit and loss statement, now we're a lot of self-employed borrowers, homeowners, have a hard time getting approved for a loan modification, because they either, they put their income in their, regular checking account. They maybe don't have a QuickBooks or some kind of accounting or payroll system going on. And on their taxes, they write everything off. So maybe they brought in $100,000 for the year, but after all their write-offs, they're showing that they only make $20,000 a year. That write-off amount, if you do tax returns alone, that is the amount that they're actually going to use. They are going to use the write-off amount. After all those write-offs, that amount. And of course, that would be so difficult and so challenging to get you approved, unless, you didn't have as many write-offs. But there is an avenue to get around that. And that is, you complete your profit and loss statement, at minimum a 3-month profit and loss statement. So a lot of the lenders have an example profit and loss on their or template on their website, or you can Google one. But it's at least have to be 3 months at minimum. Your lender will tell you if they need more than that for some reason. But whatever is on there, and you can put whatever expenses you may have if you need to. Always include a little tax in your expenses. Doesn't have to be too much, but there are some lenders who, if you don't put taxes, that you withhold some taxes as an expense on your profit and loss statement, they will come up with their own dollar amount. So you don't want to leave that up to them. Put in there a couple $100 a month in your expenses, whatever. So do your profit and loss, break that down. And then on top of that, then you're going to match it up, even if it's your personal checking account. Go in there and circle any income that you see. I don't care what it is. Go in there and circle any income that you see that will match up to that profit and loss. Okay. If you are like myself, who might have a few businesses, then they might want, not might, they will want you to circle and explain, what does this income go to? This one that you circle goes to the car wash dealership that I have, and this one circled over here goes to the babysitting company that I have, XYZ. So that's how, as a self-employed or 1099 contractor, how you can get around if you've done a whole bunch of write-offs on your tax returns. Okay. So now we have submitted, we have all of our paperwork. You're going to want to make sure that you write a letter of explanation for everything. Okay. So if you're self-employed and you're sending in personal bank statements, go ahead, don't waste any time. Go ahead and let them know that I have provided my personal bank statements because I do not have a business bank statement for my business called ABC Enterprises LLC, and cover all of that so that they're not wasting time. A week goes by, they contact you to send in a letter of explanation, or they're contacting you asking you for business bank statements and you don't have any, and now we're wasting time, and we don't want to waste time. Write a letter of explanation for everything. If you haven't paid taxes for whatever reason, maybe whatever reason, and so they're asking for 2019 taxes, 2018 taxes, and you haven't filed your taxes, write a letter of explanation for that. Don't waste time having them come back and ask you for something that you don't have. Okay, so just say, in 2018 and 19, I was not required to file taxes, or if you did a extension, they are going to ask for the copy of the extension. So don't write that if you haven't actually done it. But I wasn't required to file taxes in 2018 and 19. Please accept this letter as sufficient enough to move on from that. And if you have any questions, please contact me. Okay, so now we've given the lender everything that they could possibly need. Now I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss anything. Non-contributor, sometimes they might want a utility bill or some kind of bill in their name that shows that they actually live in the home. And now we're submitted into underwriting, and now we're waiting. But we want to make sure that we are following up. Okay, if your processor for the lender who's putting your package together for your underwriter has asked you for something, always ask for the date that they need it back, because they will close out your file. If it says I need that paperwork back by November 15th, and you turn it in November 16th, they will have closed out your file, and then you have to start all over, which is fine. But once again, we don't want to waste any time. All right. So now it's in underwriting, and they go through the process, and hopefully with all of that breakdown, you get an approval. Then you're moving on to, well, it's a temporary approval. And that's when they put you through a 3-month trial. Okay. They put you through a 3-month trial of a certain amount of payments. And that might be the same payment when your permanent modification comes through, and it might not. But what's most important is that you make those trial payments on the 1st. So let's say you got approved November 15th, your first payment is due December 1st, January 1st, and February 1st. Those are your 3 trial payments. You must pay those trial payments, and you want to make them on the 1st, call it in, do whatever you have to do, because that is their test to you. That is their test saying, all right, we think that we want to give you a permanent modification, but let's go ahead and go through this trial before we do all this paperwork and change your loan terms and all those kinds of things. Let's go ahead and go through this trial, see if you actually make these payments, and then we will get, and more than usually there would have to be something that popped up on the title or something like that for you not to be approved for permanent modification once you successfully complete the trial modification. But speaking of title, you want to make sure that you have a clear title. Sometimes, like if you have a lien on your property, maybe you owe taxes or who knows. A lot of times you can contact those particular individuals and they will, that your lender may accept a payment plan for that. But you have to contact them directly. And that, hopefully you don't have anything like that going on in your title work. But if you do, they do a title search during your trial period. So you want to go ahead and handle those situations before your trial is complete so you can move right into a permanent modification. So that is the process. It's not that challenging, but a lot of people have challenges. You can do it on your own, but if you need any one-on-one coaching, I am not an attorney, but I have many years of experience and results, from doing a loan modification. So I can coach you through the process if you need some one-on-one, or maybe you got a denial. But I understand how stressful this period can be. I have been in your shoes before. I want to say that before I bring on my guest. I have been in your shoes. When my husband and I, when we first bought our house a few years ago, literally a month or two after we closed, he got laid off, and I lost a huge contract. From a company that I was contracting my services through when they had to close this particular division that they were contracting me for, because they got into some legal issues with their employees. And that was, oh my goodness, that if I did not have the experience that I had, we would have definitely, absolutely lost our home back then. And so when I tell you, not only am I here I have the experience to be able to help you get approved, but I've been in those shoes. I know and understand the stress that you are experiencing. I am here. If there are any questions, please drop them on whatever platform you're looking at. You might be looking at it on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. But please, I am here to answer any questions because this will only be up for 24 hours after that. And I probably won't do this in the month of December because of the holidays. I'm not sure. I'm not going to leave you all hanging out here. So if I have to do another one in December, I will, but I have not scheduled that yet. So you should see in the link, if you want to book me to coach you through your process, or someone who needs to be, needs some more one-on-one help, please share them. I see that they have dropped that link in the box. But I am here. There's so many avenues that this process could be, and I couldn't possibly think of them all. So this is the time to ask the questions. But I am so excited to bring on my guest for this evening, because when we get you to that place where now you are caught up on your mortgage, you're back, current. We don't want you in those situations again. We don't want you to be going through those processes. We don't want you to be stressed out. We don't want any of that going on. So I am going to bring on Dr. Ndidi Ehem. She is, once I said earlier, she is wealth and wellness expert. I am going to bring her in. Give me one moment. Hey there.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think you have another one playing in the background, so you might want to.
Yeah. Let me turn that off. Is that better now?
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I have introduced you to those who are watching. They are watching our stream either on Facebook or YouTube. And I'm so excited for you to chat with our guests, our listeners today. I have walked them through the process of the loan modification. We don't want them to be in that position anymore. We want them to be what? Recession proof, right?
Yes, exactly. Recession proof.
Exactly. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Please introduce yourself to everyone, and then let me know when you want me to share my screen for your slides, and then we'll get rolling.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Like you said, my name is Dr. Ndidi Eham. I am a pharmacist turned entrepreneur, and I am the CEO of Advent Systems Incorporated. Basically, we are a financial services firm, and we help families and business owners get out of debt, like or mortgages, credit cards, and car notes in 9 years or less, while at the same time saving money, so they don't have to do anything extra than they're already doing right now. So that's pretty much what I do. And I do want to thank, Syndy, for putting this amazing platform together for us to be able to, share this information out to the world so that, people know about it and they don't have to be in this kind of situation anymore. So Syndy, when you're ready, you could go ahead and share your screen. Can you hear me? All right, I'm just waiting for the PowerPoint to come up. But basically today, we're just going to be talking about, what to do, with money, finances, to make sure that it stays in your pocket and you don't have to be in any kind of tight situation. Like she said, we're trying to be recession proof. So, now is the time to have your strategies in place. This mortgage, foreclosures, things are going to be happening by April, May. And we want to make sure that you're not in that situation where you're confused and you don't know what to, talk about or what to tell the banks. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So one thing I always like to start off with a quote. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. We want to make sure that you understand it after this presentation. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about, just business ownership. I know we have a lot of business owners on here, real estate, financial literacy strategies, because I believe that if you know your move, because I view life as like a chess game. If you know what the next person is going to do, then it's going to help you plan better so that you don't have to be in a situation where you're like, oh my goodness, this caught me unawares. Then I'm also going to be talking about the 5 things that we should have learned in school for financial success that we did not, and the 6 asset classes that everyone should own. Next slide, please. So just, making sure that we understand our personal finance and the areas that make a difference in our world. These areas are going to be focusing on popular daily understandings of wealthy people, right? So we know that everybody looks to the wealthy, the affluent, to see how they got from 0 to 100 or to wherever they are. And everybody tries to aim for that. And so those people didn't just do it one day to woke up and, all of a sudden they're wealthy. Maybe some people, it happened to them like that because they happen to, inherit some things. But for the rest of us, we have to plan it out. And so those people who are there already, most of them planned it like that. And so the rest of us just need to have our plans in place. And also, mainstream media, they have a lot to do with how people spend money, how they save money, because most people are listening to mainstream media, but they're not really listening to people who are actually moving things, who are actually making things happen and, building wealth. Mainstream media, what they're trying to do is just make you spend. It's Christmas time, spend. It's Thanksgiving, go out and, buy some turkey or whatever, right? So we're trying to figure out how we can start changing our mindset from that. All right, next slide. So the first thing that everyone needs to know when you start talking about finances and how to get out of this craziness that we're in, the first thing you need to understand is taxes, right? It's the most underrated topic that people barely talk about and is the most important. Tax is the biggest expense that an American citizen will pay for in their lifetime. Yet A lot of people are not learning about this. And the wealthy, they pay little to no taxes, while middle America pays 2 to 3 times of that. You see Donald Trump, people are not really his fan right now, but we could take an example from him as a business owner. He only paid $750 in taxes, and he's worth over how many million? So that's what we're trying to get to. And middle America is over here paying taxes and not even getting anything back. So we need to change that. Next slide. And so this just shows, like the visual representation of what's going on. In the average American household, this is how our spending looks like. We get a paycheck, 40% of that goes to taxes, 34% of that goes to interest. So that means, maybe you have a credit card and you have loans or things like that. You're paying 34% of your income towards those interest rates. Also, lifestyle, you want to go out to the movies, you want to go to, somewhere in the Dominican Republic, you want to go on vacation, you want to travel. 23% of that is going to our lifestyle. And then only 3% is savings. Do you see that? Just 3% is what we're actually saving, while everybody else gets paid and we get a little bitty to go home with. But with this, your family bank approach, and this is what I like to call infinite banking or private banking or private family banking. Some of you might have heard it. When you use this strategy, this is how your money moves. You're still going to be paying taxes, because taxes is one thing we can never run from if you live in America. But now instead of paying 40%, you're paying 30%, and your interest rate, you're able to reduce it to 22%. Hopefully, will get you somewhere to where it's zero. But then your lifestyle is now 33%. So now you have more money to, do things that you like to do. And then you have 15% going towards savings compared to 3%. This is what the wealthy know. This is what they do. And this is what we need to start learning so that we can be better. So, the average American household is in debt $250,000. So that means, maybe you have a new home, or you have student loans, or you have, a car note. All of those things add up, and an average American household is in $250,000 in debt. Next slide, please. And so the second thing I want us to focus on when it comes to getting a hold of our money and seeing how it's flowing is for people, for the business owners. If you are setting up your business, the number one thing you want to do for your business is to make sure that you set it up correctly. So what does that mean? You want to start a business, you want to start your business as your name. Let's say your name is Jane Doe, and you go and say, hey, I want to start a bakery, and I'm going to name my business Jane Doe Bakery. And you just start. You go to the courthouse and do a DBA, and you start. Anything that happens to that business, because you're a sole proprietor, you and the business are one. So you put yourself at risk out there running your business as yourself, instead of protecting it, getting a shield like an LLC or corporation or even a nonprofit, and shielding your business inside that kind of blanket, right? And so when you now decide to go, okay, let me do an LLC or corporation or something like that, you now want to be looking at, how do you want to get taxed? You want to get taxed as an S Corp or a C Corp? The point of it is to make sure that we're not trying to get taxed as ourselves or as a sole proprietor, right? We're trying to save money. We're trying to figure out where our money is going to. So when you also set your business up, you want to look like $1 million on paper first. So what does that mean? It means if your business is going to have a crazy name, don't put that on paper. That could be like your DBA, doing business as. But on paper, you want to look as like, hey, I'm $1 million corporation. First and foremost, you see my name, it's standard, it's legit, I'm good. After you get that set up, then go ahead and do whatever DBA, like doing business as name, that you want to do. And then also you want to build business banking relationships. Now you have your business set up. Now you want to go open bank accounts for your business, because this is like a whole baby. You're grooming your business like a person, because it's going to be a whole different entity on its own. So now you have to go get it bank relationships, right? And then you want to now go into looking at, okay, what does the Small Business Association, what can they do for me? What kind of loans do they have in place? What can I use to set up my business correctly? And then look into grants and funding. All of this comes when you set up your business correctly and it's looking like $1 million on paper. This is another way we can kind of channel and make sure that we as business owners, we set up ourselves correctly from the beginning, so we don't fall into the whole, oh, I started my business and then, 6 months down the line, you're tight for cash. And then everything else in your life, your mortgage, your car, everything starts going into, boom, it's disappearing before your eyes, right? So we don't want that. So that's why if you're a business owner, setting up your business correctly helps you down the line with even your personal finances. Next slide, please. And so third thing, very important, credit management. This ties into, us when we're trying to get a home, when we're already in our home, when we're trying to move to get something else. Your credit, if you don't have any kind of substantial cash savings anywhere, no cash value, insurance, nothing that you're tapping into, then your credit is what you're going to be leaning on. And so people don't understand, like when it comes to credit, what am I looking at? What do these lenders, what are they looking for? Some people feel as though, hey, I have 10 credit cards. I don't want them anymore. Let me just have them let them get closed down. I just want only one credit card because I want to manage that one. But guess what? When it comes to your credit, this pie chart right here is kind of what makes up your credit, right? Everything on here matters. One is not, some are greater than the other, but you need to have a mix of everything in here. So number one, the most important thing is your payment history. It takes 35% of your credit. So what does that mean? It means if you've been paying your bills on time, it's great. That helps your credit tremendously. The one time you have a late payment and it reports in your credit could go down as far as 20 to 80 points. 20 to 80 points just from one late payment. And the more late payments you keep having until that card charges off or that loan, closes, it keeps getting worse and worse. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're never late. If you know that you're about to be late and it's before your due date, go ahead and call your creditors. Call them and tell them, hey, this month is kind of hard. I don't know what happened. Can y'all do something? Can we push the due date? Can I pay a little bit here and then pay another one, maybe next month? Because things are tight and they will work with you. But when you just don't, reach out to them and tell them anything, then that's when things start getting crazy. And so I help a lot of people every day that are trying to get their credit better. And they come and they're like, hey, but I've been paying my bills on time. Well, yeah, just keep in mind that they're reporting history, not the present, right? Now, the next thing you also want to pay attention to is your debt ratio. What are you owing on and how much income are you bringing in? Is your debt more than your income or is it very close? It's very important that you pay attention to that because that's 30% of your credit. And then the next thing they look at is your average age of file. That's why you don't want to go about closing cards, right? The older your credit history, the better for you. It means you're very responsible with credit and you've been keeping tabs on when things are due, paying your bills on time. It's very important. If you have a 10-year history of credit, let's say your oldest credit card is 10 years and then you open one maybe 6 months ago, it's going to be an average. It's going to come down because now they take that 10-year history and the 6-month history and it reduces your average. So that's why you always have to keep in mind that you want that credit card that has the oldest year to keep on going very well. And if you're opening new accounts, just know that it's going to keep reducing your average age because the newer the account, the lesser your average age comes down. And so you want you want your card or your credit history to be very old because it's good for you. The next thing is a mix of credit. You just don't only want like credit cards. You want a mortgage. You want student loans, very good. You want car notes. Everything on there should be a mix of credit, not just one credit, right? And then the last thing is inquiries. So inquiries and a mix of credit are both 10%. You want to make sure if at all you do have to have inquiries that it doesn't exceed 5. 2 to 3 is great. Don't go overboard. Anything over 5 starts affecting you significantly. Next slide, please. So this is just a way people ask, oh, well, I want a budget, but how do I do that, right? So I always tell them, hey, 70% of your income should go towards expenses, 20% should go towards savings, and 10% should go towards investing, if you're giving, charity, tithing, if you're a Christian, maybe you do that, or, also call it savings. That's how your breakdown of your income should be. Next slide, please. All right, so accelerated debt reduction is pretty much a clear understanding on how to manage your finances is not having the knowledge of what to do. So we fall into massive debt like mortgage or student loans, car loans, and we don't know how to get out of it. So you want to make sure that by the time you finish paying off your 30-year mortgage on your house, that you have enough saved. So if you don't have a plan to where, okay, if I pay off my mortgage in 30 years, am I going to be better off? Am I going to want to stay in this house? Is this a house that I want to pass down to my, my children? But knowing that, staying in a home for 30 years, you would have paid the bank more, because you would have paid the bank up to like equivalent of 3 houses. And so it's just a way of trying to figure out how to not do that. And so some people say, 15-year mortgage or 30-year mortgage, which one is better? In either case, you're going to be paying the bank more than you bargained for. So if you think you buy a house for $250,000 and at the end of 30 years, that's all you've paid, that is not true, because you haven't factored in the interest you've been paying and everything else that comes with that house. So if you know how the banking system works, you'll be able to pay off your student loans, your credit cards, your car notes in a third of the time, and a 30-year mortgage in less than 9 years. And so that's what I want to just kind of put out there. It's possible. Next slide. So the power of real estate. Combining real estate with tax strategies will bring in so much financial success in your life. The tax benefits that come with having, any kind of real estate or property in your portfolio will allow you to leverage your retirement accounts. So, owning real estate in some shape or form, other than just personal residence, allows you to pay less in taxes, because this country was created to actually benefit the business owner or people who are running corporations and things like that. So your personal home is not like an asset. What they're talking about here is other real estate that maybe you might use for investing or things like that. There are creative ways that you can actually get real estate with little to no money. You just have to know how to do it. People use their 401ks, people use other people who have better credit. Some people find people who have the money, maybe they have the credit, or some people they can do the legwork, but they just need someone else that has good credit or, the money. And so once you know how it's done, take advantage of the tax benefits and the laws that the U.S. Was designed to benefit for small owners. And doing these things will start to move you in the right direction towards financial independence. All right, next slide. So this is the last thing I really want to talk about. When people say, I don't invest in the stock market, I don't invest in real estate. No, I put my money in insurance, or I put my money in this. But really, it's good for you to have a mixture of everything. Your portfolio should be rich in everything, right? And so there are really 5 asset classes, but I'll say 6 because one of them is really important. But when you're looking at your asset mixture and how you should invest, the first thing you want to think about is real estate property, something that brings in income. So not really the one that you stay in, your personal residence, but 40% of your portfolio should be real estate. And then let's see here. 15% should be in bonds. Equities should be 30%. So equities will be like things like shares, stocks, things like of that nature. Commodities, like people who invest in like oil or gold or silver. Those are commodities. You should be probably around 5%. And then your cash should be 2 to 7% of your asset mixture. Yes, cash is an asset. Cash will be like when you just need money for emergency. You should have that cash readily available. Everything else here is your money tied into something that makes it grow, so that in the future, whatever money you've had sitting somewhere actually has doubled. Out of all of these asset mixtures, life insurance is the most important, because that is a contract that you have with the insurance company that guarantees that whatever you're signing up for is what you're going to get, or your descend or your beneficiaries will get after you're no longer here. And there's a specific kind of life insurance that you could also use while you're still alive, where you can use it to pay off debt. You can use it to get out of mortgage. Sorry, this background noisy. You can use it to get out of your mortgage, your student loan, or car notes. And so that is the most important one. It is the automatic transfer of wealth to your children and your children's children if you put it correctly into, a trust or will. But this is pretty much how to make sure that money never, you never dry. You always have something working for you. And in regards to people who are considering, okay, am I going to get foreclosed or what's going to happen? If you do have cash laying around right now, if you're trying to figure out how to double that cash or how to make it multiply for you, you definitely want to look into things like this. And I could definitely help you if you have more questions about it. But that is all I have for tonight. Thank you so much. These are the ways that you can contact me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, or you could call me and make an appointment, and we can discuss further from here. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Well, that was such excellent information. I really appreciate you, Dr. Ingham, coming on and setting people up for wealth building, right?
Yes, definitely. Very important.
Exactly. So you all make sure that you reach out to Dr. Eham. Her social media is scrolling across the bottom, and we will make sure we also drop your information in the chat boxes and things like that. And I will talk to you soon, Dr. Eham.
Thank you so much. It was great being here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, everyone. So we have given you the financial experience. We started off with breaking down that loan modification process as much as I possibly could. If you want to schedule a one-on-one coaching session with me, like I said before, maybe you were denied, maybe you just are completely overwhelmed with the process. Whatever the case may be, you can I saw the link that was dropped in the chat box. You can book a session with me. Also, very important to stay on top of your credit. Credit. So I know that they have also dropped a link for you to check your credit, all 3 credit bureaus, your score, and your profile. What's very important is more than just your score. Your credit profile, like Dr. Eham broke down in those categories, is extremely important to be able to use credit as leverage after we've got you squared away back with your mortgage company. We need to rebuild your credit from there. You can also book a session with me when it comes to rebuilding your credit profile and your credit situation as well. But that is it. Another episode of the financial experience when it comes to loan modifications in particular. And then always my guests are going to give you the information on how to re-empower yourself and reposition yourself financially so that we can pass down some good knowledge and some finances to our children and our children's children, hopefully. So with all of that said, I love you guys. I have enjoyed this, doing this, for you all. And if I decide to do another one in December, trust me, you all will be the first ones to know. So I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday evening, and you all take care.
My name is Syndy Buchanan, relationship coach, speaker, and radio host in Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to the Unbroken Experience. The Unbroken Experience is well established as one of the premier organizations. We're designed around strengthening the family foundation through education, mentoring, coaching, and memorable experiences created to empower the individuals that make up our communities that will directly have a positive effect on the interactions with the relationships those individuals have outside the home. Right now, our nation is going through a tremendous change. And guess what? This is the time for us to use our platforms from radio, from television, from social media to reach out to those people we're not able to tangibly be in front of at this time, but we can still be in front of them. This endeavor allows us as a team to set courageous, innovative, and profound goals, strategically plan with confidence, and brilliantly execute a solid blueprint to success financially, economically, commercially, societal, that extends its reach to more people than we can physically touch in a lifetime. I thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about the Unbroken Experience. And there's so much more to know, so much more to learn. And I look forward to partnering with you and speaking with you soon.